In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your bellow on your Fiat 500. It's located behind your front wheel. Remove your hubcap, stick a pry bar in there, or use a hubcap remover, which is similar to a pry bar. And you're just going to work your way around. And your hubcap will pop off. Using a 17mm socket, we're going to remove our wheel fasteners. Remove your wheel. You can take a crayon and just make a mark of where everything was before you take it apart. We're also going to count our turns coming out, but it's good to have a couple different ways of marking for alignment purposes. Now we're going to take our 20mm wrench and we're going to break it free, the jam nut. Once you break that free, we're going to go to this nut for the tie rod end. Now we're going to use a 17mm socket and we're going to take off the tie rod nut. Now to release the tie rod from the knuckle, we're going to give it a tap. All right. Take that out. All right, so now we're going to spin off our outer tie rod, and we're going to count how many turns we go. Just make sure that your inner tie rod doesn't move with it. If it does, you need to hold it here. Ours is a little rusty, so we're going to count our turns. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15 and a quarter is what I would call that. And I'm going to write that number right here. You're going to slide a screwdriver flathead down to twist and loosen up this clamp holding on our bellow. We're going to be replacing it with a zip tie. Once you think it's loose enough, you can pull on it and release it from the rack. Now we're going to pull it all the way down. And pull it off. There's no zip tie or anything holding it on the other end. Eventually it'll pull off. And then you can undo your nut. Make sure the whole tie rod, the inner tie rod, doesn't spin when you do that. Set that nut aside. And now we can continue to take off the bellow. And set that aside as well. Now we're going to put our bellow on. can put it past that point where it sits usually, if you need to in order to reach the rack, and then just pull it back when you're done. That's what I usually do. Put our wire tie down in there. I'm going to push back with this boot. Make sure it's all the way on. You don't want any debris getting in there. Once you're flush against the rack, you're going to tighten up that zip tie. Once that's tight, you can cut off the excess with some wire cutters. And now we can pull our bellow down into the groove. Make sure you have grease there so that it can swivel when you're doing an alignment. If your bellow is stuck up there, you use a pair of needle nose with a little hook shot on them, and that'll pull it down for you. Make sure it's resting in that groove with some grease. I'm going to put a little bit of anti-seize on those threads. And we're going to put our jam nut on first. That's probably good. And now we're going to spin on our tie rod. All right, so we're going to go 15 turns and a quarter. So there's my quarter. I'm actually going to mark my tie rod so I know when I've gone a full turn. One, 2, 3, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Take off this little cap. Remove your nut first. Take off the cap. And put it in the knuckle. You may need to maneuver the end of the tie rod. Sometimes it's easier to use a socket to do that. Once you get your tie rod in, and put your castle nut on, or your slotted nut, spin it on by hand at first. All right, let's torque this to 30 foot-pounds. All right, let's see where our hole is for the cotter pin. Let's see if that fits. If your cotter pin doesn't line up like ours, you're going to go tighter, not looser. Just go a little bit at a time. So now ours fits. Make sure you have the longer side on the bottom. Feed it through. Push it all the way through. Use some wire cutters. Grab that bottom piece and flip it under. And then the side. The top part, you can go to the side, or you can cut it off. It's up to you. I like to put mine to the side. Better be safe than sorry. All right, so now we're going to put our jam nut all the way down. And the jam nut is typically torqued at 25 foot-pounds. If you don't have a torque wrench or a crow's foot to do that, just tighten it. Make sure you get an alignment anytime you do suspension work. Make sure you line up these two with the rim. Install all your wheel fasteners by hand at first. Tighten them in a crisscross manner. Using a 17mm socket, we're going to torque our wheels to 63 foot-pounds. We're going to do that in a crisscross pattern. Make sure you find your divot for where your valve stem goes before putting on your hubcap. So you're going to line it up, make sure it's lined up properly, and then gently press in. Towards the end, you might need a rubber mallet. You're good to go.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.